Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome back. The bell has rung. Those of you still trying to place orders, it's too late. It's too late. Be interested to see what you guys did at close. Knowing this bunch, I've got a hunch. Ha. Get it? Give everyone a second here. What was today? Today was Take Profit Stop Tuesday. Big rally yesterday. Big buy day yesterday. And we finished at a very historical average for a spot. We actually finished almost right on the dot across everything. On an average, right? It is on an average. Right in the middle. SPY was right in the middle. Russell, right in the middle, right? What's the one thing that did well? The Dow. The dark horse didn't do anything today. Hung out. And this even includes tech. This includes things like Apple. The Dow, Microsoft, right? What didn't do well today? Tech. No one wants tech. It got squeezed yesterday. Nobody wants it. No one wants to really get involved. What happened with Tesla today? It got tied into tech and we got stopped out instantly. We took that entry, trying to buy on pullback. No, sir. Now, when we include the EV move, we took GM at the same time. We were already in Ford, right? GM actually started to move, so we already had captured the Ford move, and we captured the GM move by taking that trade at the same time. Of course, Tesla not getting tied. Tesla getting completely tied into tech. Good to know. Now, we were shorting and had the understanding that this was tech related on that mega cap side, tech relation, sort of like Apple being shorted through here. And so we had that understanding, but today my idea here was that, okay, we're coming out of tightening. We want to be buying on the pullback without even some sort of technical sense. We want to buy the flow. What happened here today? It got tied into tech. It didn't get that flow. Does that mean we can't do it tomorrow? No, it doesn't mean we can't do it tomorrow. So take that chance. And again, we get stopped out for break even. Same with NEO. NEO really getting hit by that. And again, you get stopped out there. We've got the Ford and GM trade leading the way for the EV side of things. And again, the same thing is applied. Tech is not the place the money wants to be. The flows are on value. Even on a take profit day like today, we can see that because where did most of the selling come from? It was on the tech side. So everything increasing yesterday, but what sort of took profit the least? It was still on the value side, which means for a take profit and stop day, we know where this is going, right? For the plan of continuing to push positions further, that's the plan. Again, you get stopped out, we get stopped out. We follow our rules. We're not playing for the 50% or something, the 20% you get on your contracts from Friday to Monday if you're trading long terms. If you're trading long terms, it's because you're trying to go further, right? Now, we of course had trades from Friday into yesterday where you had big points where you took profit on some of those. But again, long-term trades that you had the opportunity yesterday, and I said, if today there's anywhere that you're going to take profit on that historical average return on the day after a rally, which again, it's almost always halfway in between. And that's exactly where it ended up, right on the dot. If you know that you won't be able to hold through where this price is across the whole market, then you should take profit. We talked about it yesterday, and we talk about it a lot because, again, you know yourself better. The market here, what's it doing? It's just doing what it normally does. And again, this is where you can't go read headlines because I go onto Bloomberg and I read the news. What is the headlines? Well, yesterday it was the biggest rally ever, the most points ever. And then today is, big sell event. The risk is off. Again, you can't go from pamping to crashing every single fucking day. It's ridiculous. We were sell the whole market, buy the whole market, sell the whole market. It doesn't work like that. It's a process, part of a cycle, right? So the flows, again, we're still signaling a trend to the upside. So again, pushed most of my positions, took profit on positions from the open when we were talking about things. The thing to, today is definitely going to piss me off a little bit for some people in here, because it's so easy to look at sort of the top of our list. Obviously, travel did well again today, and Ford did well, and we have some of these positions that keep doing well. But I know the percent is, I think, throws some people off. It's like, oh, only 5%, only 5% on the underlying. That was it, only 5%. That kind of thing. It's like, what do you mean, only 5%? Only 5%? It wasn't 10%? Oh, okay. And so when you actually look through all of our tickers that we're looking at, it's pretty ridiculous when you think about some of the points for a day that, after a big day like yesterday, for some of these charts to be where they are, and to think that, oh, it only moved 5% in some of these trades. Like, I think it's really easy to get. So first of all, we've talked about this WW trade, right, from this break here, pushing it. Okay, that was over 10%, sure. How about the Fox trade that I talked about over here? Okay, that was 10%, sure. CCJ, sure, we talked about this going up to the trend line. Sure. Then there's charts that have been continuing to trend up, but when you start to look at them, it doesn't feel as, oh, this was 7%. It doesn't really look like much here. It doesn't feel like much. And again, this is like there is a bit of a problem with the way the market's been trading, where I think there's things like this trade here, GPRE. I bet no one here took this trade today because of the way it looked, the way the percent looks, and it doesn't seem like much when you compare it. I'm going to go through some trades, but something like maybe Squaring, PayPal, these trades that we took from Friday, they might not seem like they're moving much. There's trades on the all through all of travel. As you go through the gradient, sort of CCL did the best, so cruise lines did the best, and then you start to go through and you start to see some of these, and it's like, wow, only like a couple percent today, only 1%, and then that starts to eat into some of the idea of, okay, you know what, maybe I'll just get out of this position. You know what, I'll get out of it. And then you have to keep in mind where you are within that trend, and also for today. Today was a stop day on the average. Removed a lot of your demand. So again, if you sold things today because of something that the market did, even though these positions might have kept pushing, maybe the underlying was down, but your options were up, but you still sold. These kind of situations are really, you gotta do something about that. Now, there's plenty of trades that, again, that would have been taking profit yesterday that probably you took profit on today, which is fine. You're looking to push it further through today. Maybe today it just took too much off your options. You weren't prepared for that. Certainly, there are positions out there. Something to mention is like the aerospace and defense. These tickers didn't really put many points on. And again, on the options, you're probably not getting much of anything because it has to break through these levels. Again, these type of trades, let me bring you to like the GE chart. You look at the GE move here, down 1%. And then it's like, it's very easy to be like, well, you know what? It's not moving. So that's just silly. If you took the trade from over here and you're out of this position, you're just doing something wrong. I don't know what the point of taking the trade in the first place was. Again, this whole sector and the way we're trading it, and I'm leading this into like different ideas here, is that you're pushing this trade through not for what the gain is here. Yeah, you could just fucking buy March monthlies here and then and sell them. Sure, that would have been perfect. That wasn't the point of the trade. The point of this trade is for a much longer trend and for an entire sector to move together, causing quite a bit of value to happen through the motion of up here, because we're breaking through levels on every single one of those charts. Again, we have a ton of them. We're using ETFs. We're using individual tickers. GE sort of being the biggest ticker in that group. And then I'm going to go to energy. So what are the two sectors that have led the market in terms of points this year? Number one, energy, and number two, banks. Very easy to look at energy today and be like, wow, we're down 0.5% today. Wow, you know what? I'm going to get out of this position. It's only up 25% this year. You know what? The thing that only moves like 2% a year, let me get out of this. Again, this is really silly. You're really pushing it. If this candle here throws you off, right? Throws you off on a day like today, you know what? Oof, that's a tough one for me. I got to get out of this one. Diane, grab my phone, get my greasy fingers on there. Again, this is silly. This is silly. It's going to be up tomorrow. At me. It's going to be up tomorrow. Now, again, the big thing today was what happened with the average. A lot of the average came up because of tech. So again, tech has still been the weak spot. What did volatility do? What's volatility tied to? The S&P. So volatility picking up there, especially near close, right? You saw that at close, this sort of coming into close, which was where a lot of points came off. And yeah, a lot of things started to really pull back after lunch as that volume started to come in. That volume started to come in, and we already had the sell side was sort of melting downwards, rolling over a little bit, and so that volume went to the sell side, continued to push the move down. This has nothing to do with an overall trend, right? Has nothing to do with an overall trend, and this is tied to one side of the market. We're not trading that side of the market to begin with. None of us here were actually even trading. We've talked about mega caps. No one's trading them. I keep talking about don't trade Amazon. It keeps looking good on a technical basis. Yeah, it gets into a level, and it feels like you can do something, right? Every single one of these days, I continue to say you can't go trade it because that's not where the flows are going. There's no reason to be trying to force this here. What happened with Apple? Apple got squeezed. What happens with the squeeze? It can get pushed right back down just as quick. It gets put down just as quick. I talked about yesterday that underlying buying from market makers because of options, it goes both ways just as quick. It'll probably do this all week. It's going to do it all week. We got Beige Book tomorrow because we got Powell speaking on Thursday. So tomorrow we'll get some fucking dumb summaries no one cares about. They put dumb jokes and shit in there. No one cares about the Beige Book. Anyway, we got Powell on Thursday. So again, oil is going to be a big thing this week. So in terms of where we are in terms of a cycle right now, right? We've got the dollar pushing down. So this is the big part of it, right? The dollar pushing down means we are going risk on in value, right? Market's going to be up tomorrow in terms of value, absolutely, as a whole on an average as well, not just tickers we're trading. Tech, who cares? That's part of an average. And with this coming down, volatility staying lower, obviously it's still elevated, COVID risk level, and we're going into a little bit of neutrality because of an event. Now, with crude and oil and all that, it gets very interesting, right? It gets very interesting with a possibility of crude making a big move. It doesn't necessarily need to do anything, but it will add to volatility. But the volatility, again, is correlated to the other side. So if we stay in our lane, and keep trading individual tickers in the sectors that are getting flows. Remember, it's like we tried to force Tesla today, but it got tied into tech, so we can't really go trade that. It's still too tied to another average. We're trading individual tickers. Some sectors, we can't trade certain tickers in them. So again, we have like this whole clean energy and all of these things, but there's a lot of tickers in there that just suck. They plain suck. And so we're not going to trade them. So again, we're going to stick with tickers that are generating their own velocity, are breaking out. And again, if you look through the list and you had a hard time, maybe let's say you took profit yesterday because you had short terms. If you had a hard time trying to find things today, I find that very hard to believe. I think I saw someone woke up late. I think, David, you woke up late. I guess you're the only one that could possibly have the excuse that you didn't do anything. But I'm pretty sure that's because you had positions to push anyway, so you don't really care. You didn't need to be awake. I told you guys, go to fucking bed. If you're pushing positions, what are you going to do? You get stopped out, or you're just going to be watching price for no reason anyway? So, again, there wasn't really anything to do, and I think we did very well. On the sell side, if you go over to the sell side, I talked about this morning, besides these, that there are some positions in here that from close started to take further profit, but this is still all break even and not even close to halfway from what it made yesterday. If we go all the way to the sell side, what's down here? We have positions that, again, so things like NEO, right? That these are tied to the tech side. We tried to force a move in here off a pullback, and it didn't happen. But these are not positions that were sort of on the top of our scope. Now, there are positions, something like Zoom, right? What did we talk about with Zoom in here? It's all tied into tech. So we had this move here. What did we do over here? Well, this move really showed itself. It really showed itself here. What happened? Well, there was earnings here. Did earnings matter at all? They certainly didn't. They certainly didn't in here. You gapped up because of earnings and you fucking sold down. What if it was down here? I bet it would have been the other way. If it was bad earnings, it would have been down here and it came up here, right? Again, this doesn't matter. What we do know, though, is that this is tied into tech just like Tesla, right? So we're not going to force these. We're not going to force these kind of trades. And now this is a cute candle. This is a really cute candle, and it's going to really fuck up the options. Again, this type of volatility is just good luck. There's no such thing as Black-Scholes pricing this or anything. And again, I mean, they're already been priced. But again, contracts that were made back in here or something, they don't price this. So it's not even, who knows what actually happens with this tomorrow. The reason I'm bringing it up is that there's probably going to be chances because of how fucked up this got, because a bunch of people traded it for earnings and then took profit on it because of earnings. You know what happened here? These last two candles don't matter. Its price is just in the same spot as it was. But what happened is now you have an increased volatility, which makes our kind of trading better. So now it does offer a chance if it breaks the level. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But again, on the sell side, there is nothing here besides those positions that, again, had significant rallies yesterday that took profit, and then positions that were very clear breakdowns. If we go through some of these, something like SunPower, it's still just trading within the trend. So again, if you entered this from Friday, you're still technically up, and it had a big day yesterday. It made more yesterday than it lost today. These kind of charts, these are ones where, again, as soon as this day gets going, because I know these are really difficult ones to manage. Okay, let's say you were not able to be an OG and get down here anywhere close down here, right? You didn't get anywhere close down here. Let's say you bought on this sort of average in here, right? In this situation, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you wait until down here to sell, well, then nothing makes sense. You might as well just get stopped out, right? You just get stopped out. If you're not taking profit on these kind of moves up here, then you're just getting stopped out. You need to have that plan to begin with. So there should be no stress, even if this is fucking 9% both ways, involved in this kind of trade. Because if you're taking the trade here and then you're not taking profit as soon as 4 or 5% comes off it, but then you're going to take profit on another 4 or 5% before you even get stopped out, I mean, it doesn't make any sense, right? You need to know whether, okay, if I'm entering here, as soon as this thing starts reversing, I'm going to take profit. Because probably the difference of entering here and then exiting somewhere up here off of a reversal, and you're not going to just wait to get stopped out or wait to get a higher percent, is you're probably making like 80% here. So if you got short terms. So in a lot of these situations, again, if you head from down here, you're fucking, who knows how much you're up, but you're up a lot. And so again, when you're in these type of things, this type of position here, depending on where you entered, you don't want to be looking at P&L anywhere on this chart. It's so easy. If you look on an intraday, how much different it feels in here. When you look at it on the daily, it seems like nothing is happening. In here, your P&L is changing all day in between these 2 days, right? This kind of chart, or these is what I talked about earlier today. Turn your P&L off. Don't look at the P&L, because you're not going to make good decisions through here. You either need to take profit as soon as a reversal happens, a rejection happens, like these two moves here, as soon as it starts to happen, or you just need to let yourself get stopped out. And you wouldn't have been stopped out no matter where you entered in here. So these kind of trades, those were the other kind of trades that were involved today. And again, these are trending to the upside. And so again, a day like today does sort of fuck with the mentality a bit. I understand. I get it. But again, it's because it probably wasn't a part of your plan, your preparation of what was happening. And the other part, there was a lot of charts you could have bought on dips today that we're buying on pullback. Just like on Friday, the reason we did it, a lot of those charts are up because yesterday was a fucking mad day, a madhouse, right? We had like 1,000 charts that were over 5% or something ridiculous, whatever the hell it was, 2%, and then like 500 over 5%. And so everything was up. So of course, everything is sort of middle ground today. But again, there's charts today that were not up from Friday or yesterday, that were down again today, that offered opportunity. So again, what do we do? On Friday, we bought on fear on pullbacks for the big gain yesterday. So we get paid for that. Most of you get paid. I'm going to look in the profit section in a second. Today's no different. If You don't need a belief or a story or anything to understand what exactly is going on in here. If you're not willing, listen, this is again, if you're willing to, if let's say in hindsight you didn't buy down here or you bought down here, if you bought down here and you're pushing through here, it should be the same that if you weren't able to buy down here, you should be able to buy here. There isn't, this is now less risk buying here because you had confirmation of yesterday. You just know what today is in terms of, in relation to yesterday being a big rally day. So if today was not going to be just that average sort of, that historic retracement from a big buy day, and it was a sell day, then we would have sold. We've done it before. You will sell. You will sell if it's going to be a sell day. So if we were going to sell in here into the rest of the week, then we would have sold today. Why? Because we've had every example in the book to see that price will instantly price to where it needs to go. If we were not going to be able to push further, we would have sold immediately. Why? Because we've done it every fucking week. We do it every week. As soon as there's something to price, we will price it. Nothing changed today. Nothing changed today. So again, we don't change. Let me take a look at the profit section. I have some ideas to talk about, but let's see what we got in here. Ecto, 5%, but had some contracts. What's this? But some contracts have a wide spread, so take that with a grain of salt. Don't know what that means. I'll take the 5%. Good job. Spoon with the -5 stops and longs. Makes a lot of sense. I like that phrase, stops and longs. Brian, the glizzy, with the +134. That sounds awesome because had a good day yesterday. Let's see, what do we got? David with the big 814. That sounds like some take profit from the big gains from yesterday. Also, he woke up late, so that sounds great. Get to sleep in and got gains. Matt with the -282. Very bad ignorant mistakes. Okay, but he's being realistic. Venki, the killer, with the -200. That's fine because whatever he had yesterday, I think makes up for that. -1 on Chris, as expected. That's a fucking awesome number. You beat the minus on the average. So absolutely a nice number. LSU with the +300. Sounds like some take profits from yesterday's gains. Cinnamon with the gains. C-Trader with the -300. Sounds exactly like the average. So those of you that had the minus side, those sound like you beat the average at least of take profits, considering that yesterday was what? Like an average of 10% on every single one of our positions. So that sounds pretty damn good. That sounds pretty good. What are we thinking for the rest of the week? What's the market signaling? We're pretty damn close. We're pretty damn close to all-time high. The dollar's pulling back. Let's bring it over to Asia real quick because this is what's going to be interesting coming into tomorrow. The Hang Seng got beat up again today. So tomorrow, I mean, now it's there today. This just looks like a buy opportunity. This gapped up at their last open. What does this mean? That our futures should be opening higher. I find it very hard to believe that we do not open higher tomorrow based on how the day went today. It's very hard for me to see. I mean, now again, this could come down here. This can come down here. In there, they could be pricing in some sort of risk, again, based on the way we saw yields come out of nowhere, quotations come out of nowhere. And so this is really going to be the dictator because, again, this is a very bullish market that even through all this price action has been upping sort of the envelope of volatility. And I would have to imagine, again, that this at least puts another new high on. Just like yesterday put a new high on, but it broadened, right, and took profit through there. Now this is tech-oriented, so there are some problems with that. Now, there's also some problems that we know some of the flows from here actually came into our market, and we saw that with the dollar. Again, if you see the dollar push up a bit, it's again because money is being converted. So this high here, we did start out up here. Let me put on the 15. It's important to see the timing here. If you look at this price action in here, look at the timing in here. This is 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. Okay, so Asia's closed, and then Europe opens. And our market gets going, right? So during Asia's hours, what happened? They converted into the dollar, obviously. They converted into the dollar. You can go look at the other currency markets. So they swapped over to the dollar. not to play their market. As they exited their market, they came over here, which again, the dollar is a safe haven. The dollar is a safe haven. But what happened? That money exited the dollar very quickly. So as soon as it came into the dollar, it came out and went somewhere else. So in terms of flows, we know where the money went. What did I say coming yesterday? We have significant inflows coming to our market, whether the average is going up or down anyway. It doesn't matter. The ETFs can be going down in price, but they're getting inflows. It's fucking contrary to belief, but that's what's been happening, right? It's been happening. We have to imagine that this is coming back down a bit. Now, this is affecting a lot of things. Commodities are really getting pumped up quite a bit. In terms of gold, I mean, gold's kind of fluctuating up and down, but again, this is bearish as shit. Who cares about gold? But even this is continuing to sort of ebb and flow through. Again, gold is just garbage. No one wants it for a year now. This is where we're at. Money is just continuing to be risk on. There is no, even through corrections, there is no sort of risk off mentality because everyone's trying to chase something. Bitcoin continues to show towards the upside. I think that this whole NTF thing, this whole token thing with all this shit is a good example of some of the risk appetite out there. It's important to maybe understand all these markets. Still trying to figure out the whole NTF thing myself. I mean, NFT thing myself because I don't really, I don't know. I've never fooled around with that stuff, so I don't really know. But I do know that that's a fucking shit ton of money. That last number I said, it was like 300 million in the last 30 days. 300 million in 30 days, that's insane. That's insane. I mean, that's just insane amount of money. Like who and what? It's just a ton of money. So again, there's a ton of money. Texas is open. Do we party with Nip in Texas? Exactly. Vaccines, COVID's over. Again, reinflation. We're going one way, folks. It's happening. So we've speculated on things opening up. And now that it's happening, of course, the market's reacting. Stimulus is going to happen. It's going to have a weird reaction, I'm sure, as well. But yeah, we should be going to party. I don't think Gabe wants us to go to Texas because every time we joke about going to Texas, Gabe gets a little sensitive because everyone has moved to Texas. Austin, specifically. Now, I had a bunch of friends move to Austin, too. Moved from New York to Austin. I say we definitely go down there and wear masks to piss off all the people down there. I'm going to wear my mask and piss all of them off, right? I was looking at new condos in Austin, says Acto. I heard it's a promising area. I think it's an up-and-coming area, good for small families, small families. Definitely not for the younger crowd like you guys. Yeah, greasy finger traders for sure. Stimulus check prone in the stimulus check group for sure. You can live in a city and live in a house, No. You guys want to, we're going to Palm Beach this weekend, going to look at condos in Palm Beach. I'm going to looking at Palm Beach condos. But I already looked, I don't have much to talk about. We already know what the fuck is going on in the market. We'll figure out tomorrow if something changes. So those of you heading out of here, have a great night. Have a great morning, whatever. But I'm looking at condos in Palm Beach. My problem is, though, that I don't fucking drive. I just take Ubers everywhere. I don't want to really, have to do things. So I'm looking at these, like, all-inclusive buildings that have, like, all the stuff in the building. I have, like, a grocery store, everything. It's like living on Neverland Ranch like Michael Jackson, where he's got, like, a grocery store, everything there at the fucking place. But there's other people that live there. So, we get, like, a gym and a pool. But it's in Florida, right? You're not really in a city. No, I'm not living in the fucking oldies, 55-plus community home. This one's for the dirty, nasty young ones or something like that. I think I read. I think it was OnlyFans owns the building or something. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. I can't wait. Austin's not my vibe. Austin's not me. But Florida's not either. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I'd rather be in Palm Beach than. I looked at Miami. You can buy. I could literally buy for I don't even know, like a 1% mortgage. Some of these Miami apartments because there's no one there either. I don't even. You can get a South Beach apartment in one of these big fucking modern buildings for dirt cheap. Like, I'm literally talking like a 400 grand apartment that's like 5% down in paying like 1.5% or something. Like, stupid. Like, you can just tell by the prices that no one wants to fucking be there. Like, in that it's just something's wrong. There's just something wrong. So I'll stick to Palm Beach. Stick to Palm Beach. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, the option video. I'm gonna make a video on basics of options. I think that's gonna. I might have it published tonight. We'll see. For that, I realized that we do have some problems. So maybe even like a day like today, some of you just don't fucking get it. You just don't get the basics, and you don't realize that you might have just lost all your value. You gained 3% yesterday on the underlying, lost 1% today, but you lost more on the options today. That again is a problem, and that just means you don't understand the options. Don't buy something if you don't know what it is. That's going to be hopefully helpful for you. So watch out for that. I don't know if I'm getting it done tonight, but I should have it done. We'll see. So watch out for that. For charts tonight, some of the things I've already looked at are definitely a little wonky. Again, the lower volume stuff is a little wonky, and now I'm realizing some of it's just a little weird. But watch out for charts. If some of the charts look a little strange, then just know it's not for you. If you're like, I don't really know, then no, it's not for you. So again, there are charts I think that some of you want to trade, and then you go into the options and you're like, I don't fucking realize why the price isn't moving, this type of stuff. There's usually a reason, and you just don't know it, and it's hard to Google search for things about options. Like, when I was doing research to see what I had to fucking tell you guys, I can realize that when you try to Google some of this stuff, there's no information. There's literally no. That's why like Nattenberg is the fucking thing, and you need to read a book. But that is also the problem, is that you have to study this damn thing, and you can't just get one answer. It's not like saying, oh yeah, when people buy the stock, the price goes up. It's not the same on options where people buy the option and the price goes up. Sometimes it depends. And here's why it depends. So I realized that there's like, I'm going to try to make it simple, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll be like a 30-minute video and you won't learn a thing, but that's the great thing about options. Is half the time I can talk about it, and even if I don't know what I'm talking about, you guys have no fucking clue anyway, and you'll just listen to me and buy it anyway. So if I need to offload some contracts, I just fucking call you guys up. So that might be the gist of the video. We'll see what happens. Brian mentions LVS bullish here. Again, travel as a whole is bullish. So if you remember, over here, it was garbage. Over here was garbage. Over here was garbage. And then the entire travel market moved. So LVS is good. Now, you're not getting a very good exponential on these contracts, which is why I've been trading the likes of the Win and MGM and all those other ones, right? If we compare these charts, it's very easy to see this move in here. What was the problem? All of this supply was the problem. So you did not get anything on any prices below 60. If you bought anywhere below 60, you basically made no money, even though this was going up, because you had all of this supply in here. Now, yes, it's bullish. What's this up here? I mean, you're certainly getting a short-term sort of pattern idea up here. It is hard to look at this chart. It does have points to retrace. I'm going to show you, let me show you the Win chart. When we look at the differences in here, the difference is that fucking commotion that happened in the consolidation, and you didn't have the most bearish pullback ever, right? And then we look at the MGM chart just continuing to trend up, right? You broke through this supply a lot sooner. We trade the leader. We always trade the leader. There's times when if you're not trading the leader, you can trade the tickers that are converging to it. But the difference was that Win and MGM led, which is why we traded these tickers specifically, because if you look at the LVS chart, again, okay. It was coming up at the same time, but it was coming out of a very deep sort of pullback, right? Win entry opportunity on breakout. Yeah, so again, if you guys didn't for all of the travel charts and everything, right? If you didn't enter on the pullback and you didn't enter from before, your next, and this is for any chart, when you get the tightening here, right? Your next opportunity is always on the next breakout, right? On the next break. And so I really wish these weren't extended, but either way, your next opportunity, you didn't buy on the pullback and you didn't enter on any of this, you have to wait for the break, because again, the tightening is reaching an equilibrium, and you can't preempt it. There is no preempting it, because you don't gain anything from preempting it. You should just wait. So was today a buy day on this one? Well, it's actually up 1% today. It just doesn't look very good. No, you wait. You can miss the percent. This is one of those examples where you miss the percent. So if it breaks this trend line tomorrow, what is this? This is like 134.5 or something. You break that, then you can enter it tomorrow. Again, it's going to be a green. It's very hard for it not to be sort of a positive day tomorrow. Again, the only reason it won't be is because of neutrality going into Thursday, which is fine, which could definitely happen. That would be like an event specific, but you don't get to just change up the fucking rules every single day based on something new that's happening. We just realize it's going to be a part of supply and demand that, okay, there's going to be probably some neutrality on a larger macro side, because there is shit going on Thursday in the end of the week that you want to wait to see you don't want to be wrong, but you need to bet to make a fucking money. So people are still going to be trading. But in these type of situations, tightening, we don't draw patterns and we don't trade things until the break happens. The only time is if there's a pullback that doesn't offer any clarity on anything, and then there's time that you can be like, oh, the flows are probably going to come in, so we'll buy it. So this is one of those ones: wait for the break, wait for a bounce, wait for the pullback, right? If this pulls back into here, great, that's a great opportunity. If for whatever reason the market decided to sell something, just like in here, right? As soon as this happened, it's a great opportunity to add to your position. That's what I thought. When all of that market commotion happened on the end of last week, it's perfect. On these charts that you know are bullish, it's really it's a great opportunity. That's what these charts really offered the most, because again, these barely move. Energy and banks barely fucking move, and value doesn't move. It's like you look at the Dow, and the Dow did fucking nothing today, because all the people that are in the Dow that already bought, they just know better. They know better. They don't need to do anything. And if no one does anything, no one loses anything. It's like it's like the memers at Wall Street Bets. They think if they all do that, then they won't happen, but they don't realize that more than half of them actually sell. They don't have diamond hands. They're just fucking tricking the other half of the dumbasses on WSB, right? And so that's why the GME thing never was able to work, because it did exactly what it was going to do. Everyone bought, and then everyone sold, right? In these situations, though, value, again, I expect continued trend. The only thing that's going to change it, again, is a overreaction, which can happen from a macro standpoint. So that's what we're watching for. I can't wait to watch the Hang Seng tonight, see what happens. I'm going to try to get involved with some of these trades. I'll post the trades if I get there. I'm going to post you guys' position on the funds account. You guys are still up $290 on your trade, but you obviously lost quite a bit today. Minus 473 on the day. I'll post that. But watch out for charts tonight. Hopefully you guys had a good, chill day. I had a nice day. I didn't take a nap, but today is definitely a day you need to take advantage of to get some shit done. Those of you that slave away on the market every day like me. So very nice day. Excited to see what happens this week. Those of you that had big gains yesterday, you probably didn't even give a shit. So that's how it should be. Don't give a shit every day. Minus, plus, who cares? Enjoy your night. Enjoy your morning, your evening, wherever you are. I will see you in the morning. Watch out for charts. Enjoy.